And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Experience Hockey Talk, serious hockey talk for serious hockey fans. And I welcome you to this week's episode. I'm keeping an eye on it on Facebook Live and on Twitch. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is an interactive show, so you have comments, you have questions. Please feel free to ask them and say them. I will read them on the show. I will respond to them here on the show. And we'll make it interactive. Lighting in my room is not doing that well today. So, this is a great way to talk about the home opener for the Washington Capitals because, well, it's become interesting where for a second season in a row, one of those players who's on the opening night roster looks to be suspended. And, of course, that is Tom Wilson. We're not going to feed in the video for CPU purposes on here, but Tom Wilson, in my opinion, he was aiming for a shoulder, but Oscar Sundqvist turned his body position at the last millisecond, which resulted in the headshot. Wilson is getting an in-person hearing tomorrow at 10 a.m., and it's going to be 5 games minimum. If he gets less than that, I'd be genuinely surprised, but I think he's going to get 5 games minimum. And I've seen people say, he needs to get 20. I think that's excessive. I've watched the playback a few times, and you can read my notes on it as well on TXHTHockey.com, where I clearly state that I truly believe that his intention was not to hit the head. He was not taking full strides to do the hit. He was in a glide. He never left his feet. And he never led with his elbow either. So those are key things that need to be looked into. I do agree with other sentiments where people have said that if the number on the back of the jersey was different, we would be having a different conversation. But unfortunately, it is Tom Wilson. I think he'll just get 5 games. I don't think he should deserve any more than that. So there is that. Then, for also certain notes that we take a note of, Travis Boyd is on the opening lineup, but he's listed as long-term IR. And Michael Kempney is listed as IR. But then you also had the pickup today of Dmitry Jaskin off of waivers from the St. Louis Blues, which I actually do like this pickup. It's a good, solid pickup for the Washington Capitals. Jaskin is actually a guy on the St. Louis Blues that I actually like, and he's one guy when we get an opportunity to talk to Arian again, we'll have him to talk about Dmitry Jaskin a little bit more in depth for us, but that won't be today. That'll be another time. Looking at the lineup here, some other names here. Obviously, you're going to have Nicholas Backstrom and Andre Burakovsky, Brett Connolly, Lars Eller, Evgeny Kuznetsov, TJ Oshie, Alex Ovechkin, Devontae Smith-Pelly, Chandler Stevenson, Jacob Bronner. Nathan Walker made the list this time, once again. Nick Dowd obviously made the lineup going into this one. And then Jason Megna. He's the center that the Capitals signed as a free agent over the offseason. And then obviously Tom Wilson. Your defense is going to be Madison Bowie, John Carlson, Christian Hughes, Matt Niskanen, and Dmitry Orlov and Brooke Orpik. And of course in the goaltenders for the opening day roster, Phoenix Copley with Braden Holtby. So the Caps lineup is definitely a big thing. It'll be interesting to see how Jason Megna, who will be wearing 15, will be utilized, how Nathan Walker will be utilized by the Capitals. Tomorrow we'll have our first ever game preview, which is kind of exciting. We're going to have to, hey Dixon, I know you're watching, we're definitely going to have to keep our eyes open to see what type of lineup we could be seeing going into that game. I don't expect to see Dmitry Jaskin in the lineup right away. He probably would be in the lineup next week or the week after he gets some time to adjust to the team and the team's system. Jaskin will be wearing the number 23 for the Caps. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how some of these guys get utilized. Luckily for the Capitals, with Kempney injured, they had already Madison Bowie. Jonas Siegenthaler was sent down today. Aaron Ness cleared waivers, so now he's in Hershey. And I'm going to check Twitch real quick. Oh, yeah. So for the record, Dixon, I have agreed to the I've added and permitted terms the word morons um, to the people who are commenting saying that Wilson needs to be suspended all season and all of next season. Yes, I do agree those people are morons. It just happens that way. So let me pull up Boston's. Unfortunately for me, and I do apologize for this, I'm usually more prepared for this, but certain events had to be taking place today in regards to other things. So I had to tend to that, and I did not get back home until I did not get back here at the desired hour. So let's see here. I want to look at Boston real quick. Because here's the thing. We could talk about the Caps all we want. We could talk about prospective lineups all we want and stuff like that. Hey, Matt. How you doing, bud? Hey, Matt. Feel free to ask some Penguin questions or Cap questions or whatever, buddy. It's good to see that you're watching. And ask some questions, man. I want to have a conversation with you, bud. Let's see here. All right. So we got practice lines for the Boston Bruins, which, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send that to TXHT. Nothing like TXHT emailing itself live on the air. So the practice lines that the Bruins worked with yesterday going into tomorrow's game is Brad Marchand with Patrice Bergeron and David Pastrnak, Jake DeBrusk with David Krejci and Danton Heinen, Ryan Donato with Sean Curley and David Backes. It looks like they're going with either Nordstrom and Bjork, with Akari and Wagner, with Lee Stempniak as the spare. On defense, they have Zdeno Chara and Charlie McAvoy, John Moore with Brandon Carlo, Breslicek with Miller, and Vakanainen with Kampfer, with Rask above Halak. Yes, I did speak about Wilson already. Do you want me to speak about Wilson again, Matt? I will gladly talk about Tom Wilson again with you, buddy. Especially the comments that your beloved captain made. So actually want that up because that's one of the things we're going to talk about. Yeah, like what Dixon just said, Matt. I mean, I've already talked about the Wilson thing. I think it's going to be 5 games. It shouldn't be more because honestly, like when you break down the video, he's not charging towards him. He's in a glide. He didn't leave his feet. He didn't leave with the elbow. He looked like he was trying to go for shoulder on shoulder on Oscar Sundqvist. Yeah. And then, yeah, I know because you came in after I already talked about you schmuck. But anyways, but the thing is that, one of the things, and you know this because you and I have played against each other, is you don't cut through the middle like the way Oscar Sundqvist did. And when he did that, and then at the last second he changes his body position, Wilson is aiming for. Oh, there we go. Wilson is actually aiming for shoulder on shoulder until Sundqvist turns his body. You can say he's a dirty player all you want. I know you don't like him because you're a Penguins fan, and that's perfectly fine. You have the right to your opinion on that. But you can tell that, and I'll be brutally honest, and I think I've told you this in person before about Tom Wilson, and that's the fact that Tom Wilson should never have played for Adam Oates and George McPhee because they rushed him too fast and they let him loose. And that was a mistake that George McPhee and Adam Oates made with Tom Wilson. Under Barry Trotz and Brian McClellan, they reeled him in. He's still able to play his game. He's lowered the intensity at times of how he plays his game. But he's, unfortunately, certain things happen, and it just happens that way. He's trying not to be the loose cannon like the way Adam Oates and George McPhee wanted him to be. And you can tell that. And Trotz, I think, did a better job of developing his talent than Adam Oates. And that's my piece on that. But of course, Matt, you don't have to worry about it because you ain't going to see him on Thursday night when the Capitals take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. In Pittsburgh, which, okay, you know what? I'm glad that, Matt, you're actually watching this and commenting. Serious question for you, Matt, and I'll give you a chance to comment on the Facebook feed when I ask this question. People here in the D.C. area, as you know, are upset that the Capitals are doing their banner raising against Boston and not Pittsburgh. Now, the Capitals have endured Chicago and Pittsburgh's Cup banner raising nights, and people wanted it to be Pittsburgh for the sake of the fact that, hey, they did it to us, we should do it to them. In your personal opinion, Matt, does it really matter to you that when the Penguins raised their banner that they did in front of the Capitals? Because I know they did, I believe it was the 2016 banner. The 2016 banner was the one that they raised up in front of the Capitals, I believe. And Dixon, you can look that up and find more information for us. I know that I think it was the second Chicago Cup when Chicago raised their banner with the Capitals. So I want to know from you as a Penguins fan, does it really matter to you who you raise your banner up against? And I'll give you some time to respond to that, because honestly, I don't care who we raise the banner up against. The fact that they're raising the banner tomorrow, period, is amazing. And the fact that we are getting to see that is awesome. I just wish I was there to see it live. That's what I really want. But I can't, I never get what I want, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, Matt, answer the question. If you're actually a fan of another team and you're watching this, comment. Answer the question. Does it matter to you who the Capitals raise their banner against? Or if you're a fan of another team, does it matter if when your team wins the Cup, who they raise the banner against? Because honestly, for me, it doesn't matter. I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, for the sake of it, the banner's going up. That's all that matters to me. So Matt, I'm going to give you some time. Anyone else that's watching, feel free to comment. I want to hear what your thoughts are on that as well. As we move on from talking about Tom Wilson for the second time. We will talk more about Tom Wilson later. As in tomorrow's article when he gets suspended. And then next week on the show, which will also be Tuesday at 8 p.m. because of the Capitals game against Vegas next Wednesday, and I want to be focused on that game and not trying to do the show. So, which, you know what, I'm going to go into the next thing. Next topic, because it's 8:15, and actually I'm trying to get back into the segments that I used to do them in. And so we're going to go into segment 2. In segment 2, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the National Women's Hockey League preview, because we here promote women's hockey, we support it, and a little later on when we get to a couple of the other teams, we're going to make a great announcement about what we're going to be doing here with TXHT with the National Women's Hockey League, which I'm very excited for. So starting off with our NWHL team previews, we start off with the Boston Pride. Last season they were 4-8-4 with 12 points. They're third in the NWHL, and they were eliminated by the Buffalo Beauts in the semifinals. Their goal leader was Jillian Dempsey with 7. Assist leader was also Jillian Dempsey with 8. Their points leader was, yeah, you guessed it, Jillian Dempsey with 15 points. And their plus-minus leader was Alyssa Gagliardi, who was a +3. Some of their key departures were actually none, but some of their key additions were key, as they regained Amanda Pelkey, Gigi Marvin, and Haley Skarupa from the U.S. Women's Olympic Hockey Team that won gold. So they got them back. Interesting note about Haley Skarupa is that besides the fact that she's a Rockville, Maryland native, is that she originally started with the Boston Pride last season, but left in the beginning phases of the season to go join the U.S. Women's Olympic Team. And then, of course, the Boston Pride added Paul Mara as their new head coach. Some of the top questions facing the Pride is, can the Boston Pride rebound to championship form? Last season was an obvious step back for the Boston Pride as they entered the season missing a good portion of their roster as they went to play for the U.S. Women's Ice Hockey Olympic Team. As a result, the Pride would suffer the most as a result because they actually had the majority of the U.S. National talent on their team. This season, the Pride get back Rockville, Maryland native Haley Skarupa and defender Gigi Marvin from the U.S. Women's Team, which will give the Pride a boost to their team. This season, the Pride will be looking to get back to their championship ways. If people remember right, the inaugural season, the Boston Pride won the Isabel Cup Championship. The second season, they were defeated by the Buffalo Beauts for the Isabel Cup, and then last season, obviously, they did not make the championship game. And the second big question is, how will all of the other new pieces fit into the Boston Pride's equation? Last season, Jillian Dempsey led the team in every scoring category, but it was evident she couldn't do it all on her own. This season, she gets back Skarupa, plus the addition of players like Amanda Pelkey and McKenna Brand. The Pride are hopeful that they can help with getting some helped with getting some scoring depth on that team, and that's going to be one of the key things for the Boston Pride. That was something that they were really known for the first two seasons, which was their offensive dominance. So obviously for them, I mean, one of the blows to them is the fact that Hillary Knight did not return to the NWHL and signed with the CWHL with the, I believe, with the Montreal. So definitely a blow there that they couldn't get her back. But at the same time, it is good that they got Skarupa back. Gigi Marvin, so they're going to be a good team. But it's going to be interesting to see how they hold up this season and if they can improve upon that. Then next up, you have the Buffalo Beauts, who last season were 12-4-0 with 24 points. They're second in the NWHL and lost in the Isabel Cup Championship to the Metropolitan Riveters. Their goal leader was Haley Scamora with 7. Their assist leader was Taylor Accorsi with 10. And their points leader was a three-way tie between Scamora, Courtney Kunichika, and Maddie Elia, all who had 14 points. Their plus-minus leader was Kristen Lewicki with +5. Some of the key departures for them was obviously their goaltender Amanda Levalier, who went to Minnesota. But they were able to pick up a big name in goal, which was Canadian superstar and Olympic gold medalist and silver medalist Shannon Sabados, butchering the name already, Sabados. I apologize for butchering your name. I'll get it right. And then they also picked up Emily Janiga. They brought back Emily Falzer, who was also part of the Olympic team, the U.S. Olympic team. They got Kelly Babstock and also Blake Bolden. Top questions facing the Beauts of how will the Buffalo Beauts manage Shannon Sabados' playing time? The biggest offseason pickup by any team, period, was the Beauts signing Canadian women's ice hockey superstar Shannon Sabados. However, at the same time, they signed U.S. women's ice hockey gold medalist Nicole Hensley at the same time. So one has to wonder how the coaching staff in Buffalo are going to utilize both Hensley and Sabados. Both are high-caliber goaltenders who have won a combined of 3 Olympic gold medals between them. So you definitely have a great dynamic in Buffalo. The majority of this team, is... I just completely screwed that up. Thank you to the person who's following the show on Twitch. Didn't get your name. Hold on, give me a sec. So that would be interesting to see how the coaching staff utilizes 2 Olympic gold medalists as their goaltending, and I think that will be the greatest thing in regards to the Buffalo Beauts, and I think that could alone just win him a championship. Question number 2 for the Buffalo Beauts is, how will the Beauts gel this season with all of the new faces? This season, the Beauts will be looking to make it to the Isabel Cup Finals for a 4th straight season. And this time they will be doing it with half of the team being brand new or returning after missing last season to play in the Olympics. Both the returning players and the new players will be looking to build a dynamic team chemistry that will help them win their 2nd Isabel Cup in 3 years. And of course, real quick, we do want to do a shout out to our good friend Nathaniel Oliver from the Hockey Writers. It's kind of funny because this was the one where I had the most difficulty trying to write, and I reached out to him to help me write this article on the Buffalo Beauts. So Nate, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate the assistance that you gave me in having to help me try to write about the Buffalo Beauts. But I'll be brutally honest, I definitely think the Beauts are definitely going to be one of the toughest teams to play against, especially with that goalie combo that they have. And it'll be interesting to see. So, and then not only that, but getting some of their Olympians back, and some of the other new faces that they brought in. And then next up, you have the Connecticut Whale, who are 3-11-2 with 8 points last season. They're last in the regular season, and they lost to the Metropolitan Riveters in the playoffs. Their goal leaders was Emily Fluke and Kelly Babstock with 4 each. The assist leaders was Emily Fluke with 7, and the points leader was also Emily Fluke with 11 points. The plus-minus leaders was Emily Fluke and Megan Herta with a +2. Key departures was Anya Bottolino, who retired, Kelly Babstock, Sydney Rossman, and Sam Faber. Some of their key additions was Sam Walter, Michelle Lowenhelm, Katrina Marzova, and Maria Sorokina. And then, of course, the signing that they did yesterday, which was, hold on, let me find the name so I don't butcher it, Miri Racing, which is who they signed yesterday to a contract to round out their goalie core. Questions for this season for the Buffalo Beauts, or not the Buffalo Beauts, the Connecticut Whale, will be, how will Emily Fluke build on her incredible rookie season? With Kelly Babstock departing for the Buffalo Beauts, even more pressure will be heaped upon second-year player Emily Fluke, who had a great rookie season leading the team in all offensive categories, which is true. So one would have to ask, how much is she going to get help in regards to the scoring department this season, so she's not relied on to do all of the scoring for the team. Next up, Next up is how will Cindy Rossler do in her new role of being a player/assistant coach? Cindy Rossler was named assistant coach for the Whale this season. Last year, she was the assistant coach for the Quinnipiac University. The defender will have 2 roles to play for the Whale this season. The biggest thing is that how will she be able to balance doing both roles this season? And then who will be the starting goalie for the Whale this season? With last year's starting goalie Cindy Rossman leaving for the Minnesota Whitecaps, questions about who will start for the Whale this season have arisen. There will certainly be a battle between Sam Walter, who is from Annapolis, Maryland, and Maria Sorokina, and now, of course, Miri Rassinen, for who starts between the pipes for the Whale this season. And, of course, shout out to Shaggy, our good friend, for writing that article. His first ever try writing an article, too. So, Shaggy, I'm definitely proud of you and how you were able to, you did a good job, man. And it was actually one of our highest viewed NWHL articles. So, definitely, Shaggy, definitely proud of you for that. Then, next up, you have the Metropolitan Riveters. The Metropolitan Riveters last season were 13-3-0 for 26 points. They were first in the NWHL, and they're the 2018 Isabel Cup champions. Their goal leader was Madison Packer with 10 goals. Their assist leader was Courtney Burke with 17. And their points leader was Alexa Grushko with 22 points. And then their plus-minus leaders were a tie with +11, being Rebecca Russo and Maya Dench. Key departures was Tatiana Rafter, Ashley Johnston, and Harrison Brown. Their key additions were Amanda Kessel, Kristen Lewicki, and Lexi Slattery. Top questions facing Rivers is, can the Metropolitan Rivers repeat as Isabel Cup champions? This is obviously the most common question asked when it concerns a 14 league, but this season will be the NWHL's first season with 5 teams. So one can expect the dynamic can change going into this season. Can the Rivers build upon last season and with the addition of Amanda Kessel win another championship? Obviously, we always ask this every season, especially the fact that the past 3 seasons, the Buffalo Beauts have been in there, and they're going to be looking to go there for a 4th straight. Boston's been in 2 of the last 3. Riveters are 1-for-1 in the Isabel Cup championship games. So that's obviously really huge to look into. And one of the questions, obviously, one of the departed players, we got to interview last season at the Isabel Cup championship after the Rivers won, which is Tatiana Rafter. And we asked her, what's it like to know about the dynamic of the league, knowing that the first season it was the Boston Pride, the second season was the Buffalo Beauts, and then the third season it was the Metropolitan Riveters. Each year there's been a different champion compared to like when the WNBA started, when the first 3 championships I believe were either won by the Houston Comets or by Los Angeles Sparks. They literally three-peated the first 3 years and stuff like that. Whereas with the NWHL, it's been so much different. A different team has won it every season, and it's something that we can feasibly see happening this season as well. And then, obviously, the next question is, what impact will Amanda Kessel have this season? With key players Ashley Johnston retired and Tatiana Rafter going to play in Russia, the Riveters were able to re-sign Amanda Kessel after not having her last season so she could play for the 2018 U.S. Women's Olympic Hockey Team. During the 2016-17 season, when she was with the team, Kessel had 4 goals, 14 assists, and 18 points. She will be relied on to bring the offense and wanting to prove that she is the better Kessel, as they always like to say. It's a shame that Matt's probably not watching anymore, because that would have been a great thing for him to chime in on. See, we are an interactive show, I told you. But, so then moving on to the next team, the new team, and that is the Minnesota Whitecaps. Now, this can be a little misleading about the Minnesota Whitecaps, especially the fact that they have actually been in existence since I believe 2004. So for them, while they are an expansion team, they are an established team at the same time. For the Minnesota Whitecaps, this is the first year for the Minnesota Whitecaps in the NWHL. Their key additions are Hannah Brandt, Amanda Levalier, and Sydney Rossman, along with Lee Stecklin. Top questions facing the Whitecaps, and it's kind of like a twofold thing for not just the Whitecaps, but also for the NWHL, and which is why I asked both questions in this one. And that is, how will the Minnesota Whitecaps adapt to the NWHL? While the Whitecaps are an established franchise in the hockey world, however, this will be their inaugural season in the NWHL. Having some NWHL veterans like Hannah Brandt and Amanda Levalier will help the Whitecaps with their transition. One has to wonder how many of the others who have not had the opportunity to play in this league will handle the transition. Especially the fact that I believe that they mostly been playing up against like the college team around them in Minnesota. How will the rest of the league transition to the Whitecaps? And the reason for this is, for the first 3 seasons, the NWHL has always been a 4-team league. And now with the Whitecaps, it has grown to 5. We know that every team will play each other 4 times for a total of 20 games, which is an increase from 18 games last season, but a reduction from 6 games played against each team. Also, one has to wonder how the travel can affect the teams as well. Before, the furthest team was the Buffalo Beauts, and now it is actually the Minnesota Whitecaps, because they moved more western than anything else. So, and as always, the league starts up this weekend, this Saturday. Let me pull it up. I actually have the link right there on the TXHT website in the articles. Of course, you can go to nwhl.zone to get more information on the NWHL. And I believe the first game is Saturday. Okay, that's not. Really working for me. Oh, come on. Come on. Work with me here. There we go. It doesn't show me any games. Thank you so much. There we go. There we go. All right. Oh, no. No, that's not right. That's last season. It gave me last season. There we go. There we go. So starting off at the Trio Rink in Minnesota, you have the Minnesota Whitecaps hosting the Metropolitan Riveters at 4 p.m. Central Time. There we go. Got the last one out, which is at 4 p.m. Central, which is 5 p.m. Eastern. This will be the debut game of the Minnesota Whitecaps in the NWHL officially. And of course, this will be the kickstart to the Metropolitan Riveters championship defense. And then on Sunday, October 7th, you're going to have at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, the Minnesota Whitecaps hosting the Metropolitan Riveters yet again at the Trio Rink. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern Time at the Terry Connors Rink, you have the Connecticut Whale hosting the Buffalo Butte. And of course, our good friend Shaggy will be at the game. He bought a ticket. He's heading up Saturday during the day to go there. And he is, he might write something up, he might not. I've asked him to do so because it'd be cool. And I'd really appreciate that. Then, of course, we're going to jump 2 weekends. So we're going to go to Saturday. We're going to go to Saturday, October 20th. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to announce that Shaggy and I will be traveling up to the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, as the Metropolitan Riveters do their home opener against the Minnesota Whitecaps, which will be taking place at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm really excited about this, the fact that we're going to be there once again covering NWHL hockey live. The NWHL game is a lot of fun to watch, and we can't wait to cover that game for everybody in person. It'll be a great time. It'll be a lot of fun, and I can't wait. It's going to be fun. And what a better place to do it too. Let's talk about this fact for a moment. The fact that this is an NWHL game in an NHL arena. I know they did it last season, which was awesome. They did it last season as a doubleheader with the Devils, which was really cool. This year they're getting to do it again. Definitely massive props to the New Jersey Devils for giving the Metropolitan Riveters this opportunity. I think it's amazing that they're doing that. And I really like to see more of that, especially the fact that the Pegula family owns the Buffalo Buttes. I'd love to see them play in the Buffalo Sabres arena. I think that would be amazing to see. Boston does not have an official affiliation with the Boston Bruins, but I think that would be really cool if the Pride ever got that opportunity to play in TD Garden. Obviously, the Minnesota Wild are extremely supportive of the Minnesota Whitecaps, and that they're going to be, if there's a chance to have them play at XL Arena, that would be a great moment for women's hockey right there too. So I really like to see, I'd like to see more of those games get into those bigger arenas. But you know what? The fact that you're still getting at least one game a season in an NHL arena, that says a lot about how the women's game is growing, and I'm glad to be a part of it, covering it, and seeing it grow. So, all right, now we're going to go back to our website. And of course, like I always said, NWHL.zone information, tickets, merchandise, go there. It's awesome. All right, now we're gonna go to WordPress. Hang on, blog post. All right, Dixon, and we'll make sure that your blog post for the daily goes out after the show is done. But here are the news and notes for Tuesday, October 2nd, 2018. There was one preseason contest that happened yesterday. The New Jersey Devils faced off against SC Bern in the NHL Global Series Challenge at Post Finance Arena in Bern, Switzerland. New Jersey went on to win the contest 3-2 in overtime. There were no other preseason contests that took place. In NHL news, the final 23-man rosters must be submitted to the NHL offices by 5 p.m. Eastern today. We are actually going to be in Dixon. I need you to hop onto Twitter for me and hop onto all the teams and start grabbing all the tweets that are announcing the 23-man rosters for me, please. Because those have been getting announced throughout the day. The Washington Capitals received their Stanley Cup championship rings in a private ceremony last night. The Capitals also released the Stanley Cup with the new engravings representing the 2017-18 Capitals. For more information, you can go to TXHTHockey.com. We have an article up about both the rings and the names being put onto the cup and being revealed. Also, the Capitals released the schedule for the opening night ceremonies, which will be taking place tomorrow. There will be the viewing party and everything else, and then of course, wow, this is a lot of Caps notes. We should have just done a Caps daily for this one, Dixon. But the Capitals also claimed Dmitry Jaskin off of waivers from the St. Louis Blues, which I agree with that pickup. I like Jaskin. Washington also announced that Michael Kempny has been put on injury reserve and Travis Boyd has been put on long-term IR. One of the big things to come out today is that the Seattle contingent is expected to hear back today if the NHL Board of Governors will go ahead in December for an expansion vote. Gary Bettman of the NHL Commissioner said that the NHL Executive Committee is recommending expansion to Seattle. When we have more on that, I would probably be December. We will do a more in-depth thing to look into that. More to talk about it. The Carolina Hurricanes goalie Scott Darling is expected to miss a couple weeks due to an injury. In a corresponding move, the Hurricanes have claimed Curtis McElhinney off of waivers from Toronto. And then also in that move of the waiver wire, the Philadelphia Flyers picked up Calvin Pickard for them. Today it was announced that the Professional Hockey Writers Association announced that Washington Post Isabel Khurshudyan was the winner of the 2018 Red Fisher Award. The Red Fisher Award recognizes the top beat writer from the 2017-18 season as voted by their peers. So definitely congratulations to her. And then this is all mangled up, Dixon, so we need to edit this before we post it. But the you have stuff about the Caps, Sabres, and Lightning, or the Kings and Oilers. Actually, you know what? Pull this stuff out, and we're going to put it in a separate article for the 23 rosters, or the 31 team rosters. But one keynote: the Oilers have signed forward Alex Chiasson and defenseman Jason Garrison to 1-year contracts. So definitely, congratulations to Alex Chiasson coming off winning the Cup. Unfortunately, he didn't get a contract with the Capitals. But the fact that he's able to have an opportunity with another team like the Edmonton Oilers, who is a team that's also very hungry to get back to the playoffs after their abysmal season last season. I definitely wish him the best of luck. And then per reports, obviously at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Tom Wilson will have his in-person disciplinary hearing with NHL player safety. So yeah, Dixon, we need to clean this up, man, before we post that. So yeah, we got 20 minutes. Comments, questions, observations. That's the thing. If you got observations about, your favorite team that I didn't talk about, I mean, here's the thing. Boston's going to be rare. We can just go back to the home opener. Dixon, you can ask me questions. You're allowed to, you schmuck. But, schmuck, it's a great word. But, going back to the home opener for tomorrow, obviously it's going to be a great moment for the Washington Capitals to be able to raise that banner finally. But I will admit that I am very disappointed in the Capitals with something that they did, and that was how they redid the other banners. Like I think the Eastern Conference Championship banners should be separate. They should still honor the past Eagle logo that they had when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. I feel that by them taking away the logo and then just adding 2017-18 underneath, 97-98, in my personal opinion, it's a little distasteful towards the history of the franchise, especially knowing that that was a different era, and they should honor that era that they had. Especially the fact that everyone wanted the Blue Eagle jerseys back as the alternate jersey for the Caps, which I'm actually perfectly fine with what they chose with. I'm always down with the retro red. Now for what's it called? And that's the other thing. They won the Metro, they won the Eastern Conference in the playoffs, and then they have the Stanley Cup. I've seen what other teams have done, like Tampa Bay, which has been really cool, where they could take the individual, like the division, the conference, and the Stanley Cup, and they put them together as one big package. And I would have really liked to have seen that done by the Capitals. That's just wishful thinking on my end, but it is what it is. But I can't wait to see the banner. I really want to see what it's going to look like. We found out that now that the Caps are raising a banner, we're finally going to get Bonder's number up in the rafters, and hopefully soon after that, Olaf Kolzig's number in the rafters. Those are going to be nights that I cannot wait for, especially the fact that those are two guys I grew up idolizing as a child. But yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be really cool to see it. I really wish I could be there live tomorrow. It's actually the reason we pushed the show to today instead of doing it on Wednesday like we are normally going to be doing it. Although we may bounce back and forth between Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I don't know yet. It depends on the cap schedule and stuff like that. So we'll look at it, because obviously we want to be doing the live feed stuff. But yeah, so. But one thing is that it's also going to be a great motivator for Boston, and the Capitals have to be ready to play after all the festivities are done. So I'm definitely, Boston's going to be a good team again this year. They almost eclipsed Tampa Bay and took first place in the Pacific Division, or not Pacific, the Atlantic Division, and they very well could be the top team in the Atlantic Division again. What was that? That was weird. So Boston's going to be a force to reckon with. It'll be fun to watch, and be a good game. It's great to have regular season hockey back. It really is. And can't wait to have some fun. Alrighty, it's 8:45. I think I've talked on long enough. I need to start getting guests back on this show again, like legitimately. We'll have to get that figured out and taken care of. But thanks for watching. Follow us on Twitter at TXHT_hockey. Facebook at facebook.com/TXHT hockey. But of course, if you're already watching us, hit that like button for us. And go to our website at txhthockey.com. Patreon at patreon.com/TXHT_hockey. We will get back to doing stuff on there soon. It's just that with the website, I'm still trying to get things rolling with the website. Also, big welcome to Steve Gardner. He is now our Toronto Maple Leafs writer. Welcome to the team, Steve. We're happy to have you. He's already got 2 articles out already. One, he did his own version of the Toronto Maple Leafs preview, and he also did a quick article on the Maple Leafs trade of Connor Carrick to the Dallas Stars. So definitely, Steve, welcome to the team. We're happy to have you. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been TXHT, the Experience Hockey Talk, serious hockey talk for serious hockey fans. And until next time, we'll see you on the ice, but always keep an eye on TXHTHockey.com, where we're always going to have stuff going up for you. You all have a good night now. All right.